Toward the end of last year, we heard about an NGO that started a project which would supply local, small-scale farmers with the inputs and know-how needed for chicken farming. Because we used to rear chicken in the past, we were chosen as a reference farm going through the same experiences as the other farmers. In this video, I want to show how a well-meant project failed the associated farmers completely, causing lots of anguish. The reason for that disaster will be revealed in the course of the video. On the farmer's end, it was expected that he or she provides housing for the chicken, brooders and the charcoal needed, wood chips to cover the ground, lighting, medicine and vaccines, water and of course labor. We are talking about an investment of roughly 30,000 Kenya shilling equaling $300 over the production cycle, assuming that the housing already was available. If these conditions were fulfilled, the NGO would weekly supply 600 free day-old broiler chicks from a leading producer here in Kenya until the farming business becomes self-sustainable. On top of that, the NGO also was going to provide the premium feeds necessary to rear those chickens until they reach a weight suitable for slaughter. In addition, they were to give the farmers drinkers so that the chicks could have water. To ensure the health of the chicken, a veterinarian was scheduled to stop by several times as well. Broiler chickens are supposed to be reared for 35 days before they are ready to be slaughtered. For that day, it was promised that the NGO would buy the chicken for 350 Kenya shillings per kg to resell them to the customers they already lined up. This would be a sale price of roughly 190,000 Kenya shillings equaling to about $1,900. Minus the farmer's cost, that would be a profit of 160,000 Kenya shillings or $1,600 for a month worth of work. Keep in mind, the plan was that every week 600 chicks were to be added. So after the first month, there would be a payout of $1,600 every week. Starting in the middle of December, we were promised at least a dozen times that the chicks would be arriving today. The delivery was supposed to be done by an associate of the chick supplier and not the NGO. This gentleman apparently adjusted the delivery priorities based on the benefits for his own wallet and not on the delivery orders he was given. In the meantime, the first 10 bags of food arrived, just as promised by the NGO, and finally one day at the end of January we were told that we could pick our lot of 650 chicks. 50 were extra for any losses and personal use, and we finally got 600 chicks in the evening. No idea where the remaining 50 got to grow up. That also was the only delivery we received. The weekly, promised deliveries never materialized, which I believe was an intervention by God. After about 14 days, we received another 14 bags of food, which was supposed to last until the time of slaughter. During all that time, the NGO sent a veterinarian 3 times to us to make sure we were following all the sanitary requirements, the chicken was in good health, and to administer the required vaccines. That was until day 30 or so when we tried to schedule a date for the chicken to be picked up. Unfortunately, we were never again able to contact the NGO. Once day 35 came around, we ran out of food and had no customer for the chicken. There was no other choice than to purchase food by ourselves. At that time, the chicken used up 1 bag a day for 3,700 Kenya shillings equaling $37. In rural areas, people prefer indigenous chicken. There is no market for broilers. First, we slaughtered 120 chickens and filled up our freezer for personal use. We then contacted restaurants along Mombasa Highway just to find out that most of them already have existing partnerships with producers. Our final straw was an independent butcher that supplies some of the supermarkets in Mombasa and Nairobi. After a few days, he finally agreed on buying the chicken, but then didn't show up for another 3 days. When he finally arrived, he only slaughtered 50 of the chicken, for which he had an order, and that was it. We still were left with 330 chickens we couldn't sell. We then decided to purchase another, bigger freezer and to slaughter the remaining chicken for personal use as well. For us, this experience meant that we spent 120,000 Kenya shillings or $1,200 on 550 chicken we'll be eating over the next 6 to 8 months. The price per kg in this case was 218 Kenya shillings or $2.18, which is about 1/3 of the cost if we purchased the slaughtered chicken locally. For the other farmers, who are less fortunate than us, it meant more debt and lots of chicken they can't sell, feed or freeze. Why did this happen, you ask? To understand that, one needs to know that the NGO had great plans. Once the farmers would become self-reliant, they also wanted to purchase them the equipment and inputs needed to make their own feeds, instead of having to rely on the ridiculously priced feeds locally available. This means the farmers finally could become independent, producing their own feed and marketing the poultry. For the first step of this project, all the farmers were given their chicks at roughly the same time. There were thousands, if not tens of thousands, chickens reared by local farmers simultaneously, which were to be sold at roughly the same time as well. We were told that by coincidence, however, the supplier of the chicks, who also has an association with the feed manufacturer, started a promotion selling their own poultry for 200 Kenya shillings per kg instead of the typical 500 Kenya shillings. Needless to say that the NGO all of a sudden had no more customers and therefore could not purchase the chicken from the farmers. Faced with that perspective, it seems they decided to close shop in Kenya. And this is not the only NGO with ambitions to help the local farmers. Another NGO project that was focusing on layers disappeared at roughly the same time.